There's one power, invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power, indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power.
Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Midtown, Atlanta, where you are welcome. Such is the nature of life that all it asks and all it wants is the opportunity to appear, and you are that opportunity, and so am I, and so it is. Whoever you are, whatever path brought you here today, please know that you are welcomed and celebrated. We know who you are. You are an individualized expression of the divine life in which we all live. We are life's opportunity to be someone unique in the world and wonderful. Whatever your ethnic background, religious affiliation, however you know yourself or describe yourself, your pronouns of gender identity, we are glad you are joining us here today. You are welcome to be a part of this community in whatever way serves you. And here's our vision statement. We are a strong, open, globally connected community centered on the clarity of principle through teaching, service, and practice. We create a safe and respectful environment that supports healthy spiritual growth. And now, our Declaration of Principles as written, abbreviated partially by our founder, Ernest Holmes.
A few of the Declaration of Principles we live by.
I believe in one God, one absolute power, and first cause to all things.
I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates out of a desire to express love.
I believe all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience.
I believe in the unity of all life, and the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding.
I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of God to all.
And so it is.
So grateful, hey.
So a practitioner is someone who has demonstrated the ability to use spiritual practice and spiritual laws to bring about great changes in their lives. They've demonstrated they know how to bring about these changes in others when asked. Licensed by Centers for Spiritual Living, they're available to you to provide spiritual guidance and support in those areas where you are looking for assistance. You may contact them through our website, cslmidtown.org. And today we've got one of our wonderful practitioners, Norma Roberts, here to share good ideas and affirmative prayer called the Spiritual Mind Treatment. Welcome, Norma.
Van, thank you, and good morning to all. I'm so happy to be here this morning. I've had some ideas running through my mind this month because of some challenges, probably, but I have something I'd like to share with you before we get started. And this is something that says, my mind is a center of divine operation. The divine operation is always for expansion and full expression. This means the production of something beyond what has gone before, something entirely new, not included in a past experience, though proceeding out of it through an orderly sequence of growth. Since the divine cannot change its inherent nature, it must operate in the same manner with me. Consequently, in my own special world, of which I am the center, mind is moving forward through all that concerns me to produce new and greater desirable experiences of perfect health, abundant wealth, creative self expression, and joyous relationships than I have ever known before. For this I rejoice, declaring that it is so. I let it be so, and so it is. Now, I took the liberty to include the last part of this to make it a treatment for myself. I knew this was from Troy, but I didn't know if it was from the Edinburgh lectures or the Doré lectures. So I decided to Google it. I discovered some very interesting information that I would like to share before we go into treatment. One passage stated, "You are only experiencing yourself. In every experience, you are only experiencing yourself. What you are is what you always create, and what you are is what you believe. You do not get what you want, or say, or wish, or hope, but whatever you are, whatever there is within you, whatever it is that you believe. Until desire merges with beingness, and that's beingness now, you cannot express what you want. God's name, which is your name, your eternal name, your divine name, is I am. Not I will be or I wish, but I am. And let's go into treatment now. Please join me and accept whatever resonates with you. Just let whatever else go. Close your eyes if you like, but be with me now and know there is but one mind, the mind of God, and this mind is the all intelligent, creative process acting through me. I know I am surrounded by God as life, light, love, peace, power, beauty, and joy. I therefore consciously declare, assert, and define myself as the Spirit of God in expression. My word is the activity of this infinite mind and the law of good in my experience. I realize that as I change my mind, I change my experiences. I therefore look beyond any apparent circumstance, condition, or experience of lack, limitation, or confusion, and know that I am surrounded by a circle of protection. I will never forget that the universal mind, being infinite intelligence, knows how to bring about any desired good I may entertain. Therefore, I consciously change my focus from thoughts of difficulty to songs of praise. I sing a song of praise and thanksgiving when the pressure is great, as well as when there is no pressure at all. I remember to find a reason to be grateful in times of trouble. And I find that the God of the impossible will make a way where there is no way. I accept my responsibility to consciously direct the subconscious law of mind at the level of my confident God self. And I allow God to be God in my life. I therefore make my claim to spirit now. And I know that regardless of any concerns I may have, regardless of any situation, conditions, or experiences in my life, regardless of any appearance of a negative nature. It is only God that shows up because God is all there is. And I know that all is well. My heart is filled with joy and thanksgiving as I witness the perfect outworking of the law. I release this word, knowing that it cannot return to me void, but must accomplish that in which it is sent. I let go. I let God be God, as together we say, and so it is. And now music for reflection.
Wilbur and Orville had a dream. Nothing is impossible. Imagine if a man took wing. Nothing is impossible. People laughed, it can't be done. Man's not meant to fly. Their little dream changed everything. They dared to touch the sky. Inside of you where nothing is impossible.
Oh, the great things you will do, 'cause nothing is impossible. You were born into this world with everything you need. Hold on to your heart, the magic starts the moment you believe.
When you blow by
Nothing is impossible. That's an awesome song. So it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker this morning, Reverend Dr. Jerry Troyer, and his late husband founded New Thought in 1992. He served as a senior minister of the New Thought Center for Creative Living in San Diego from 2007 to 2016 and was ordained in 2009. He holds a bachelor's degree and a master's and doctorate from Emerson Theological Institute. Reverend Dr. Jerry currently serves as the board president of the affiliated New Thought Network, a member organization of Unity, New Thought, CSL, and Divine Science centers and churches, as well as individuals. Jerry is also a founding board member and current director of relationship development for Urban Street Angels, an organization in San Diego County that works to end youth homelessness by providing bridge housing, employment, and life skills training to homeless transition age youth ages 18 to 24. And more than 180 youth had a warm place to sleep because of one of USA's programs. He is the author of the acclaimed book, Coming Out to Ourselves, Admitting, Accepting, and Embracing Who We Truly Are. But Jerry's not serious all the time. He's a Disneyland annual pass holder and enjoys visiting several times of the year with his partner, Oliver. Reverend Dr. Jerry lives in the San Diego area with his English cream golden retriever Maggie, son Brandon, and family, including 7 children living in Oregon. Welcome, Dr. Jerry.
Thank you, Vance. Good morning, dear ones, or good afternoon or good evening if you're watching later. It's great to be with you again. Vance, thank you so much for that introduction. Judy and Maya, thank you for the invitation and the opportunity. Diego, thanks for doing what you do. Norma, thanks for an awesome opening treatment. And greetings, dear ones. It is great to be back with you. My topic for today is Mission Possible as a Little Child. So we remember the words of Jesus from Matthew 18, verses 3 and 4. And Jesus said, "Truly I say to you, unless you change and become like little children, you shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever therefore will humble himself like this little child shall be great in the kingdom of heaven." Note that he said as a little child or childlike, not childish. As we know, there's a difference. Little children, as a little child. So I was thinking about this experience of being a little child. Again, childlike, not childish, because we have those days. But childlike to me means not concerned with what happened yesterday, not concerned overly with what's going to happen tomorrow or even later this afternoon, often always in the moment. Not worried about how whatever it is they want is going to happen, only the what. The how is somebody else's responsibility. So the question for us is, what did Jesus mean by the kingdom of heaven? I would suggest that that's not the sweet by and by. That is our moment by moment experience. And as you know, today we can experience heaven. And we can experience hell because it is a moment by moment experience. And as we change our thinking and change our emotions and change our outlook, our experiences change and we experience that heaven rather than hell. It is expressing all the good that life has for us in our physical health, in our finances, in our relationships, in our work life. So every area of our lives, we can and have the opportunity to express and experience that experience of heaven. And we'll talk more about that. Little children are not concerned with what happened yesterday. They aren't concerned with what happened earlier today. They're just so often are just in the moment. One of my favorite books, the title is Smile for No Good Reason by Lee Jampolsky. And he talks about toddler wisdom with 3 points related to toddler wisdom. First one being, bye-bye. You're leaving. When will you be back? When will I see you again? Not a concern. Bye-bye. I'm going to go on and play with my whatever. I'm going to go out and run around with the dog. I'm going to go watch a cartoon. Bye-bye. Just not a thing. So first one is bye-bye. Second one is all gone. My son, as Vance mentioned, I have 7 grandchildren up in Oregon. And my son and daughter-in-law live up there with the kiddos. And I had the opportunity to visit last month and just had the greatest time. And of course, whenever I'm with them and my son, I am reminded of when he was a little boy many, many, many years ago. He loved broccoli, raw broccoli dipped in ranch dressing, moderately healthy, right? Remember him sitting in his high chair, eating his trees. He called it trees. And then when it was all gone, it was all gone. And he got down out of his high chair and went and played or did what he did. No worry about, oh, but what are we going to do for dinner? Oh my goodness, when are we going to get more broccoli? He just was always in the moment and had that faith and that knowing that when that was done, some other good will flow into his life when it's time to eat again. So bye-bye, all gone. And my favorite, whoopsie, spill the milk. Whoopsie, stepped on the dog. Whoopsie, but what are we going to do now? How often do we carry resentments and regrets and angers and frustrations from something that happened earlier this morning or last week or 20 years ago? It keeps us from experiencing all the good life has for us. It keeps us maybe out of deservedness because we're holding on to that guilt and shame and regret for whatever happened, rather than just saying, whoopsie. So bye-bye, all gone, and whoopsie. Great wisdom. So my question for us today is, how is our relationship with spirit, with God, with the universe, with our higher power, whatever we choose to call it? When we say amen or and so it is, do we absolutely know and feel and accept and believe that something happens? Or do we have a plan B? Yes, but if God doesn't do what I want then, or if that doesn't change the way I want then, because if we have a plan B, then it's a little wishy-washy, and to me, we're throwing a little water on the fire versus saying, and Norma talked about this in her wonderful treatment, I know my word does not return to me void. I absolutely know that when I say, and so it is, something happens. So our theme, you may know that our theme for September is transcendent purpose. So I've heard that word before. I probably used that word before, but what do we mean and what do we do when we transcend something? So of course you can find anything you want to know on the internet. And so I did some research, and the word transcend comes from the Latin prefix trans, meaning beyond, and the word sandare, I think, meaning to climb. So when we achieve transcendence, we've gone beyond ordinary limitations and climbed up above whatever that was before. So transcending the usual, transcending what we might have been taught as children. Remember the book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And he talks about this experience of domestication, that when we were young, we were taught what to do, how to be, how life is. Ideally, come in when it gets dark, come in from playing when it gets dark. At least those of us of a certain generation were out playing and came in when it got dark. Look both ways before you cross the street. Don't go home with strangers. Eat your meal first, your dinner first before you have dessert. That's a little iffy. So you can adjust that if you want to, but your life to decide on that. But the point is, so many of those things in our domestication that he writes about in the book. What do we believe about money? What do we believe about possibility? What do we believe about relationships and life and other people and those, and whatever age we are? What do we believe about this age? Well, you know, when you get to a certain age, ... Is that really our truth? Or are we just accepting what somebody else told us or what we were taught growing up? We were domesticated by presumably relatives and friends and even ministers, and people who, and all of those people who loved us and wanted the best for us. But the rules that they taught us were based on their experience. And at any point, we can look back and say, that's what I believe because that's what I was taught. No blame, no anything, just it was what it was. But up until now, but there's possibility today in this moment to change my belief into one that works for me. So often little children are taught not to dream. Just be practical. Be, you know, nice, but not likely. But to stay in your lane, to be practical, to play the hand you were dealt. But how often do we hear about people who are amazing singers, for example, and went home and went into the house singing, and their mother told them, you know, you can't sing, would you be quiet, please? And they stopped. Maybe for years or decades. And it wasn't that they couldn't sing, is that the mother had a headache or she had a bad day at work or whatever the case might be, but that was her truth in the moment, but yet we believed what she told us, and so we carried that with us for a long time. Do we allow ourselves to dream? Think about goals versus dreams. I think it was Mary Morrissey that talked about this, that the goal is something you can do on your own or with the help of a friend, but you don't necessarily need divine intervention to allow that to happen. So the goal is cleaning out the junk drawer this afternoon or the garage. Good luck with that. Going to the gym this afternoon. Whatever the case might be. But a goal is something we can do on our own. A dream requires spirit. A dream requires us to say, I don't know how to do this, but I know somehow, some way that it can happen for me and will happen for me. And I'm open to learning what I need to do to allow that, not make that, but allow that to happen. Remember the quote from Alice in Wonderland that Alice is talking with the queen about impossibility. And Alice says, there's no use trying. One can't believe impossible things. And the queen replies, well, then you've not had very much practice. Why, sometimes I've believed as many as six impossible things before breakfast. 6 impossible things. Impossible. Somebody said, and it wasn't me, but let's separate that from impossible to I am possible. And that can be our new mantra. So to move out of where we are into where we want to be also requires hope. Now, I will admit that I had trouble with this word. And, you know, the Centers for Spiritual Living give us the theme for the year, the theme for the month, the themes for the week, and then some suggested discussion points and quotes and so forth. And so I was reading through that for today. to me, and of course, it's always our perception of whatever the word is, but to me, hope sounds like, I hope I'll be able to do that. Kind of a vanilla, milk toasty, not power-filled word. But listen to these words from, and this is from the book, The Power and Science of Hope by Margaret Naguib. And she writes, it's the voice of hope in an otherwise hopeless situation that either whispers or shouts, anything is possible. Researchers in the field of positive psychology have posited that hope is the single most important feeling state. Individuals who have significant levels of hope are more physically healthy and less susceptible to disease. They perform better academically and athletically. In fact, elite athletes score exceptionally high on psychological measures of hope, indicating that raw talent, grit, or even optimism without hope is sufficient when pursuing difficult goals. So again, it's all about our perception of the word, but I want to do this. And I do my spiritual mind treatment, my affirmative prayer. And I say, and so it is. This is really interesting. Think about this concept of hope as the anticipation of that manifesting for me. It's the anticipation of going on that amazing trip to Iceland. Don't you want to go meet the puffins? I want to meet the puffins in Iceland. So we do our affirmative prayer, and then we have that hope, that feeling, that knowing that trip is happening for me, that new job is happening for me, that new relationship is happening for me, that greater financial abundance is happening for me. So again, it's the definition in the dictionary, but it's also our perception of the word hope. So we have that hope when we do our affirmative prayer and say, and so it is, that whatever it is going to happen for us. In the book, she goes on to say, hope is more than just optimism. It's a core principle that empowers our spiritual journey. Rooted in our connection to the divine, hope becomes a dynamic force aligning our thoughts with of universal abundance and possibility. So we pray, we do our spiritual mind treatment, our affirmative prayer, and then we move our feet, because you can find anything on the internet, as we know, and some that we wanted to find and some that we didn't. I was curious. So where did that, you've heard that expression before, pray, then move your feet. Where does that come from? Well, it is an African proverb, meaning that faith should inspire action and that people should be proactive in achieving their goals and dreams rather than just relying on prayer alone. So if I'm looking for a new job and I do my affirmative prayer and then I go and sit in the corner and wait for the phone to ring, possibly, but pray, then move your feet. So go to the Journal-Constitution and look for the want ads. Go on the internet and look at Indeed. Go and talk with people and begin to work toward that, allowing spirit to do what spirit does and acting on the intuitive ideas that come to us, but also doing our part in creating whatever it is. So think about that concept. I invite us, including me, to think about that concept of hope and how that can inspire us and keep us more moving forward. Ernest Holmes is quoted as saying, if it is the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, it should be our good pleasure to receive it. And so to do that, to recognize that all good things are possible, how important it is to be aware of that, to recognize that, and to allow spirit to do what spirit does with us as a little child in possibility. Little children aren't concerned with whether it's going to come FedEx or UPS or DHL or Postal Service or DoorDash. Little children just know they want it. They accepted it. And then you, dear ones in their lives, you, Spirit, get to decide the how. And how important it is for us to recognize that the how is none of our business. It's the what. And the allowing and the saying, yes, thank you, and more please. Because all good things are possible for us. So my question for us today is, what lights us up? What makes our hearts sing and our tails wag? What, if you're on Facebook or Instagram or some other social media, what work or what program or what situation really lights you up in a positive way? And what lights us up in a negative way? What really touches our hearts? And our hearts say, you know, I could get involved in that. Because to me, sometimes I'm looking at Facebook, and, you know, Facebook is a wonderful thing, and you just keep scrolling past the stuff that you don't need to read. But I see an amazing program, and I'm like, that's really cool. And I hit the like button, and somehow I think that I've done my part. But there's more to do. And I would suggest that if it makes our heart sing either in a positive way or an, oh my goodness, what could I do to help that? That's the opportunity for us, recognizing that all good things are possible. As Vance mentioned, I work with homeless 18 to 24-year-olds in San Diego. And there's this amazing program that I found in Atlanta on Facebook, thank God for Facebook, called Lost and Found Youth. And they work with homeless LGBTQ plus people, and especially youth in Atlanta. They have a drop-in center where folks can go and charge their phones, have a meal, talk with community resources, and they have a thrift store on Chantilly Drive. Pretty amazing. Next time I'm in Atlanta, I definitely want to go and visit with them. And if that lights you up, that might be something to consider getting involved with. What an amazing program. What an amazing opportunity. And how cool is it that whoever started this said they got that divine thought, that divine discontent, and said, there's a need for this. We can do something about this. Because everything is possible. When we become as a little child and don't get involved with the how, only the what, and allow Spirit to do what Spirit does. Because that's what we're here for. I'd like to close with this, my favorite, very most favorite quote from Jack London. And he writes, and you've probably heard this before, but it's good for me to hear it, and I bet it will be for you as well. I would rather be ashes than dust. I would rather that my spark should burn out in a brilliant blaze than it should be stifled by dry rot. I would rather be a superb meteor, every atom of me in magnificent glow, than a sleepy and permanent planet. The proper function of man and woman is to live, not to exist. I shall not waste my days in trying to prolong them. I shall use my time. So with that in mind, join me in the light for just a minute. So on this glorious day in Atlanta and San Diego and Oregon and places all over the world, we give great thanks for the technology that allows us to be together today, or later if we're watching later. We give thanks for this beloved spiritual community and the opportunity to come together and be reminded of the truth of our being. We give thanks for the reminder, because that's all it ever is, that we are the beloved, that we can say, yes, thank you, and more please, and move into that which makes our hearts sing and our tails wag. We can look at that divine discontent and say, what can I do about that? We can look at that calling that we feel in the heart of our being and say, I want to do that, and allow Spirit to guide us and direct us into the next most amazing chapter of our lives. And we say yes. For this day, for this community, for our time together, we give great thanks. And together we say, and so it is.
You're still on mute.
And I'm muted. So
There
thank you, Reverend Jerry, for an awesome talk this morning. Things to think about, things to do. And we will see you over on the Zoom channel to have a discussion with you in just a little bit. So thanks a lot. So now I'm going to do our new Minister Sacred Covenant Easy Prayer. You can say this with me, and you can download it from the website, cslmidtown.org. There's only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. And knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which include the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know the highest purpose of my new minister is to express Spirit, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of Spirit as principle. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by God. For it is written, principle is not bound by precedent. It operates according to law and is available to those who are willing to align themselves with it. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister before me as inspiring spiritual oneness through wisdom, love, and authenticity. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself. For I am inspired to live as love in the expression of principle. I am awakening the wisdom within me by clearly communicating the principles of universal truth. I am a conduit of divine love, wisdom, and healing energy, recognizing the inherent wholeness within all beings. I am offering teachings, classes, and mystical studies grounded in spiritual principles to cultivate inner wisdom, personal transformation, and empowered living. I am extending the love, compassion, and transformative power of Spirit into the wider community, fostering connections that heal, uplift, and support individuals in their unique journeys. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they will be revealed in a way that will express Spirit and serve the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful. God is gracious, and so it is. And now it's time for our spiritual giving, or our conscious giving. You can donate at cslmidtown.org/donate, or scan the QR code that comes up on the affirmation of prosperity and say this with me. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. And so we've got a few announcements. Next week is the first week in October where we will be online and in person at the Garden Hills Community Center. So come join us there for that. Our speaker is Reverend Susan Zoller. She's going to talk on Elevate Your Expectations. And the theme for October is Glow Up. We have an adult study group. They're looking at the Science of Mind textbook. They're going through the entire textbook. 10 a.m. on Sundays. You can join them on the Zoom channel. Go to cslmidtown.org, scroll down to the Zoom link, click on that, and put in the passcode. That will take you into the meeting, and you can join that group then. We've got an auction coming up to help raise money for this new minister that we are attracting. Consider donating. You can donate. There's a link on the website, cslmidtown.org. Scroll down to the orange bar, click that. It will take you to the donation site to donate whatever you want to. And then starting October 1st, that same link will take you to the website to bid on any of those items that everybody has created an opportunity for us to acquire ourselves. So take a look for that. Watch Facebook, watch your email, and look at the website for all of those things. And you can download the New Minister Sacred Covenant Prayer on the same website. And now, let's do our affirmation of life. I leave this place now knowing something better than I knew before. I go forth into the world with a heart full of love and a mind full of good sense. I look at the world in a greater way, knowing that I have within me everything I need to create the life I desire. I give thanks for this understanding, and I am grateful for the spirit of life that lives through me. And so it is. And we welcome you to come join us next week online. Right now, we can join Reverend Jerry on our Zoom channel and have a discussion with him. So if you're online live and you want to switch over to that, come join us, and we will see you over there. Have a great week, everybody.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all that I have. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all that I have. Hey! Oh yeah. Grateful. I just say I am so grateful every day for all I have. Every day. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all I have. Every day I say it. Grateful. How I'm grateful. Every day. Oh yeah. I am so grateful. Oh yeah. I'm so grateful. 'Cause I accept and I receive. I am so grateful. Oh yes, I am. I am so grateful. Hey, grateful. I'll just count my blessings.
There is a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it.